I'm Realtor Deb Tomorrow, and this is At Home in Bloomington, brought to you by Karen Rostel, Ruoff Home Mortgage. We profile the people, places, and resources that make Bloomington, Bloomington, and help you live your best life. At Home in Bloomington. Welcome to At Home in Bloomington. I'm your host, Realtor Deb Tomorrow, and as usual, accompanied by the lovely Miss Karen Rostel, who is the best name lender in the state of Indiana.
Hey.
Stumbling over my words today.
I haven't seen you in a day or so.
A day or so, or a week.
A week,
so,
yeah.
And that's probably good because I had a cold, so I still feel like I sound really funny. I feel like I have to disclaim.
I think you sound okay.
This isn't my real voice.
But it could be.
I don't know. So we're going to see if we can get through this today. I'm feeling confident. But I have to admit, and I'm not going to blame being sick on this, but I feel totally unprepared for today's show.
Wait, excuse me? That's how I feel.
Well, yeah, but you're supposed to be unprepared. Okay. That's the whole plan, right? Okay. I feel okay, but not for lack of trying, but it's because our guest and her organization do so many things, I can't even figure out where to start. Okay. It's just completely mind-boggling to me. I keep going to the website, and I'm like, I don't know. It appears that they do 175,000 different things.
Okay.
And it might be easier just to talk about what they don't do.
All different categories? Are we dealing with
kind of, yeah. Technology.
Okay.
Agriculture. House stuff. Cooking. Food safety. Let's see. Pesticides. Botany.
Okay. I don't even know what category to put that in.
4-H.
Yeah, you're leaving out a bunch of stuff.
Right? No, I'm leaving out everything, right? So here's the thing. So I'm basically just going to turn the show over to our guest and let her talk because she has a little bit of radio experience because she did a series in 2017 called Everyday People on WFHB. You can go to that WFHB website and check it out with our good friend Stacey Goffney, who has been on our old show. So you can just take over the show. Go. Welcome, Courtney Stewart.
Thanks for having me here.
So, Courtney, who do you work for? What the heck do you do?
I am a health educator with Purdue Extension. Purdue Extension has offices in all counties in Indiana.
Have you ever heard of the extension?
No.
I hadn't either before I worked.
Okay, because I've always heard of it. I've always heard, and I think yours is he has a landscape business, and so they'll come across plants and stuff, and his customers will always go, I'm going to call the extension and ask them. So I've known about them in that sense, and I think I maybe, on a completely different note, once took a Serve Safe course for restaurants. Yeah. And I think that may have been put on. Extension. Yeah, it was put on by Extension too. Right?
No, I don't know. I know. You said that I would be the pulse for a lot of these shows. But when someone says the extension, here in Bloomington, I think they're talking about the campus and Jordan. You know how Jordan stops and then it's I live in the sorority house on the extension. And it's
Okay, totally not that.
I know.
Totally not that.
So Purdue Extension.
And I know some people call it the Monroe County Extension because I think we have a thing about using the word Purdue in Monroe County. Have you ever run into that?
A lot. Okay. Yeah, a lot. And I'm an IU grad, so it's to me it means nothing in terms of loyalty, but it does get some people.
It feels like Purdue's infiltrating into our territory.
We're taking over.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So why are you the Purdue Extension? I figured this much out. I did enough research that I figured
to figure out why
it's Purdue.
Because Purdue has the cooperative extension service through land grants that this goes back to 1862 with the Morrill Act.
Yes, you got it. You win the prize. Good job.
Yeah, I did some brief research.
What is the land grant? Yeah. So in the 1860s, the government said, okay, we're going to designate these land grants to fund one university or higher education per state.
Right.
In general. And then they're going to help, with these various agriculture at the time. And that's where a lot of the Texas A&M was an agriculture school. Purdue was an agriculture school before it, was all the other stuff. So.
Before it was engineering.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, as we go through history, in 1914, the Smith-Lever Act, which is a U.S. federal law, and I'm looking at my notes, established extension services to take the university into the communities. So really the mission is super cool. The idea is that people from the university would go out into the community, and in days of old, they would help farmers with their crops, like how to handle your crops better, how to grow them more efficiently, how to avoid pests and things that would destroy crops. And then as it went along, they were also helping with farm animals, veterinary services. And then it became, hey, how do we preserve food? And so we have the home economic thing coming into it. And then it just sort of gradually expanded from there. But the mission being that we take research, evidence-based things from the university and put it into the community by programming, by going to farms, going to people's houses, and this still happens today. So if someone has something going on in their yard, you might hear them say, I'm going to call the extension office, because we have an agriculture and natural resources educator who can come look at your tree, your plant, look at a photo. People bring things to the office.
Dead bugs. What is this? Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, it's a bed bug. Or,
I don't think that
this is what this plant is doing.
Yeah. How interesting. I know that yours has some licenses for herbicide control, like to spray, chemical treatments and things like that. And he gets those through, I think, the extension up. Yeah, he's actually gone up to Purdue to take courses and things like that. So that's why I said I'm just overwhelmed. I don't even know where to start with this show. So I want because there is a lot in every state. It used to be every county in the country had an extension office. And I think there are some that are more rural that sort of combined. So there may be some more regional, but for the most part, I think I read somewhere that there were about 2,900 extension offices throughout the country. So this is a huge, huge resource that you have anywhere you live. And I don't, we'd be curious what percentage of the population, like in Monroe County, takes advantage of the extension office.
That's a good question. I mean, I don't have numbers. Yeah. I mean, we do have a long-standing relationship with certain people, with the fair, certainly, with the 4-H. Yeah. So we have a 4-H youth educator. We have myself who does health and human sciences, ag and natural resources, food and nutrition. And these are available in each county. So there are some people who do farming or who garden a lot are really familiar with the office.
Right.
And a lot of people, extension homemaker clubs, which have been around for quite some time, are familiar with our office. And we're kind of still a secret.
Yeah.
So that's why it's nice to be here.
Yeah.
And hopefully explain the many layered.
So how long has the extension been here in
Monroe County? Good question.
Or how long have you been with?
I've been with Extension a little over 2 years.
Okay.
But I think those offices have been around forever because in the 1860s they started firing them up.
So I don't know officially when it first came around in Monroe, but I know for quite some time. I know that the extension homemaker clubs in this county go back to the 20s and 30s.
Yeah. Which is so what's the biggest thing you want people to know about the extension?
I think that the fact that we do, like I said, we have those 4 main areas: 4-H youth development, health and human sciences, which is what I do, agriculture and natural resources, food and nutrition. And so what does that mean for the average person? It means that you can call our office and ask us questions about anything from what's this weird bug to I need low-cost recipes that are healthy to food safety questions. A lot of people are interested in things like canning and doing things at home. 4-H certainly is what a lot of people associate our office with, but youth development and volunteer services. So even if your child doesn't live on a farm, they can still be involved in 4-H, and they're pushing, they have a lot of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So you don't have to have an animal and enter it into the fair. You can still be involved in 4-H.
Yeah, I was having this conversation with yours this morning because I was telling him about how I had no idea what I was going to talk about today. And we were talking about 4-H, and he said, didn't you grow up with 4-H? And I said, no, my mother did. Now, my mother grew up in California and on farms, and, very much everything was 4-H. And she actually has went to college and was studying home economics for a while and finally ended up getting a degree in textiles. And that was, I don't think there's home economics degrees anymore, but there were, back in this was probably, early 60s, late 50s. And I said, well, we lived in the city. And so I think I looked at 4-H, and I don't know why I didn't end up getting involved in it. And I think my mom was probably stuck in that was a farm thing.
And I think that's a big misconception, that you have to be a farmer, you have to have animals to be involved with extension, to access extension services. But what I do, for instance, is I'm out in the community assessing the needs. So what does our community need, and how can I create and deliver programming, educational programs for the community that makes sense?
So what are some examples of some programs that you've done?
I have done, Purdue has what they call signature programs. So I do a budgeting class called Where Does Your Money Go? And that one has really taken off for me in this county. We have a lot of need for that, whether it's lower income people or people who are kind of re-entering life from various situations and need help with budgeting, or just anyone who wants to reconnect with, hey, I need to really track my spending and develop a savings plan. So it's really for anybody.
And is that a class that is a Wednesday night from 2 hours?
It's not a regularly set class.
Okay.
Basically, I try and get it going when I have interest from enough people, or I try to partner with various organizations. So right now I'm working with Centerstone, and they have a POPS program providing opportunities for parental success for fathers who are kind of re-entering after jail time and need help with creating budgets and looking at how to manage money.
Yeah.
I've also done that program at Area 10 Agency on Aging. I have done the program for South Central Indiana Housing Opportunities. They had a tenant landlord workshop series, and they are having that again in January. With an apartment complex that has residents who were interested in budgeting. So it's for anyone, really. Nice. And that's just one of many classes. Heart health, dining with diabetes. I've recently been doing more around youth addiction, stigma, how we can connect as a community. So really, my job is to be in the community, to serve on various boards, and to be kind of aware of what Monroe County has that's unique from another county.
And it sounds like most of these classes you're talking about are done in partnership.
A lot of them are.
So you're looking for partners.
Yeah.
So that might be something that we sort of put a shout out on this show and say, if you think, because I'm thinking, oh gosh, budgeting class would be great for home buyers. For somebody. So, maybe there's a partnership there. So if you think of something, are most of these courses or these education sessions, are they national programs that the materials are handed down to you, or are they things that are created at the local level?
They're both. So the signature programs that I referred to, and Where Does Your Money Go is one of them, is coming from the university. So they put that together. They've vetted that. They've created it. And specialists at the university level have put that together. And then it's my job to take that information and then teach it. But we're also able to put together our own programming as well. So I've done things for youth and nutrition at the library, stress and self-care, clutter, organization, stress.
And where can people find out about these courses? Is there a schedule somewhere?
There is not a schedule, but they can go to our website.
Okay, which is
extension.purdue.edu/Monroe.
Okay. And we're going to put that up on our Facebook as well. So on our social media.
Yeah, and we have a Facebook page. that people can go to. We have an Instagram account that's like a lot of 4-H, but we do have social media.
It's got all that stuff in
there.
The
Facebook we use quite a bit in terms of posting things there and sharing information. And you can call our office, 812-349-2575.
And just ask them whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
can we call?
They
and
know
say,
me now.
What was the thing? How long? Or can I cook a turkey in a microwave?
Yeah,
that was a big. That was
I get
a big
all
joke.
kinds of those questions. So
do they
I've learned a lot.
Do you like come in and you like have a stack of messages on your desk and you're like, what the hell are these questions?
Yeah,
people asking just
frequently.
crazy
I'm
things.
like, I don't know what to do about your bath mat, but I will find out.
I just think, what's so
how you should watch
what's so wild is that you were saying that, it's still kind of like a secret or like no one really knows about it, but yet you do have all of these like wild questions or,
well, I have to tell a story, which has nothing to do with anything, but it'll make you glad that you're a little bit more of a secret. So when I was in college, I worked at a pizza place down on Kirkwood, and when it was really boring, we would. Did I tell you if I told you the story?
No.
You would call the library.
We would call the library and ask them random questions, and then
that still happens.
And so we would go, okay. We call the library. We'd say, okay, there's a valley, and there's a tornado, and the tornado's in the valley. Does it just go back and forth, or does it eventually climb its way out of the valley? And they'll go, we'll call you back. And she'd go and figure out the answer and then call us. This is before Google.
I was going to say, this was...
Yeah, I was going to say, Google it comes to mind a lot.
Yeah,
but
right.
not everybody Googles, you know.
Do you feel like is your activity, obviously your activity is changing, with the times.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But so what you're doing today is probably very different than what the extension did 10 years ago.
Yeah, that is true. And each educator to some degree is allowed to bring their own flavor into things. The person prior to me was a human development specialist.
Okay.
And that's not to say that I don't do human development type things, but health and wellness is my wheelhouse. So that's more where I stay, which is a broad umbrella, but I don't know a lot about babies.
Right. Yeah, they're pretty self-sufficient from what I hear.
Right, exactly. I mean, just leave them alone, they'll grow.
All right, let's go to break, and then we come back. I want to talk more specifically about some of the other things, and maybe you can give us some more examples of the kinds of calls you get, because we don't want to make fun, but I want to kind of empower people. Like, just call them. It's a resource, you know, it's funded, and, it doesn't cost you anything, and go for it. So stick around. You are at home in Bloomington.
Hi, this is Karen Rastel with Ruoff Home Mortgage. Did you know one of the most underutilized loan programs is the Veterans Administration Loan? Whether you're active duty or retired, you may be eligible for a VA loan with no mortgage insurance and no down payment. It's an honor to assist veterans who have served our country. To see if you qualify for this incredible option, contact me today at 812-606-7653. Ruoff Home Mortgage is an Indiana corporation licensed by the Indiana Department of Financial Institutions. This is not an offer for extension of credit or a commitment to lend. All loans must satisfy company underwriting guidelines, equal housing lender, NMLS number 141868.
This is your Real Estate Realist. Practical advice on buying and selling real estate based on my experience closing over 800 home sales. Our Real Estate Today podcast did a 3-part series about alternative housing options, from tiny houses to co-housing. We also talked about homesteading, which is such a hot topic these days. We learned some great pointers and ideas, so here's a sampling. Number 1, the idea of homesteading goes all the way back to the Homestead Act of 1862, which was designed to encourage putting land in the hands of individuals instead of corporations. You can see the common thread today with the idea that homesteading is about moving away from corporate production of food and other necessities. Number 2, homesteading is a mindset and is possible where you are, wherever you are. Even if you don't own land, even going to the farmer's market, buying green beans from a local farmer, and then freezing or canning them to use throughout the year in your tiny apartment kitchen is a form of homesteading. Start where you are in the ways that you can. And number 3, remember, homesteading isn't always about individual self-sustaining. Think of it in a broader sense. Homesteading is helping communities become more self-sustaining. Partnering and sharing resources is an important part of many homesteads. barter eggs for tomatoes, the farm animal pet sitting for help clearing land. The idea of homestead isn't an isolating one, but a uniting one. Interested in homesteading? You can find out more on Real Real Estate Today, podcast number 88. You can find it on iTunes, my YouTube channel, or at www.athomeinbloomington.com.
My name is John Lee. Deb Tomorrow is my realtor. She has helped my wife and I sell 2 homes and purchase another. She's a smart, outside-the-box thinker and truly cares about her clients. Deb makes the complex world of buying and selling homes seem easy, which is a testament to her knowledge and skill. Long story short, Deb should be your realtor too. And now, back to the show.
Hey, welcome back to At Home in Bloomington. Before we get back to our guest, Courtney Stewart, with the Purdue, I can't even say it.
Extension.
I just want to call it the Monroe County Extension. I don't know why. I just feel like when I say Purdue and people just like turn it off real quick. Like, oh, they're talking about
You're
Purdue.
an IU country.
Right, exactly. Okay, but anyways, before we do that, you've just heard our Realist segment where we talked about homesteading. That's a great show, so I hope you'll tune into that show that we did. But our Facebook follow segment that we usually do here, we're also going to refer back to homesteading. So I think the extension and homesteading have a lot in common. And so our Facebook follow this week is a friend of the show, the Wood Frog. So follow them on Facebook. They're a modern homestead in Brown County. From beekeeping to cheese making, canning, chickens, and more. Their goal is to help you figure out how to homestead a little bit or a lot wherever you are. The Wood Frog, and they make cheese. I keep saying Jill needs to have a cheese class, so I can go make cheese. You said that
a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Yeah,
it's important.
That'd be cool.
It's important. So we should have recorded over the break because we got into a lot of conversations about food, which is not the only thing that the extension is about, but we were kind of joking about people calling and asking weird questions, and I'm sure you get weird food questions all the time. And we were talking a little bit about canning, and you said sometimes you get questions and you refer them out to other counties.
I do, right, because we have certain people in the state who are master preservers, so they've gone through an intensive training and they have lots of knowledge and lots of skills. And as we were talking about, you were like, I'm scared of botulism.
Yeah.
And I said, you should be.
Yeah.
But these are people who can really walk you through the process of, hey, this is not good. Don't open it. Don't do this or that to steer you away from situations like botulism.
Yeah. I once did can a bunch of stuff, and then I couldn't bring myself to
eat it.
I freaked myself out.
Because you were worried about
that maybe I didn't do something right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I made some pickles and I don't think I ever ate them. They just sat on the shelf looking pretty, but I was like, I don't know. I'm afraid now.
My friend growing up in grade school, her grandmother canned, I don't even know what, but almost everything.
You can can a lot.
I remember going in their basement and just those wooden shelves, you got like in that concrete basement, just rows and rows of just canned things, and I'm like,
my grandparents had that.
Yeah, we did too.
I thought that's a lot of work
because it's fruits and it's vegetables, but you can also can meats.
Really?
Yeah, Jill and
I'm making a very weird looking face. I would not have thought that you were gonna say you're gonna can meat.
Yeah, our friends at the Wood Frog, she cans meat, and they raise hogs, and then they are processed, and she's got jars and jars and jars of lard that they make soap and other things out of. And
and a lot of this homesteading stuff, like it is a lot of work, but it's also a good way to teach young kids about how things work in the kitchen or how to cook or, how to save money or how to eat more nutritiously, how to keep things from your garden and have them throughout the year.
And just appreciate
and a lot of people are interested in that. It seems like we're coming into a time where people are more in tune with eating locally and those kinds of things.
And I think there's an appreciation of, where the food is coming from.
Absolutely.
One of the things that we talked about when we did the homesteading show that really resonated with me was this idea of just kind of homesteading where you are and, and how you can. And so it could be something as simple as, I'm going to go to farmer's market and I'm going to buy a bushel of green beans that are, a great deal and supporting a local farmer.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back and can those.
Right.
Or flash freeze those, which are all things that the extension can help you figure out how to do.
Yes. Yeah.
One of the other things you mentioned was master gardener, and that's a term that I've heard a lot. And I see this in real estate listings. This is why this is silly. People will be like, this home is owned by a master gardener. Okay, fine. I don't know what that means. Is that really a thing? Is there like an official title that people can get?
There is. There is a class that's offered by our director, Amy Thompson, a master gardener course. And I want to say it is a couple months long. It's pretty intensive. There's a cost associated with it. But by the end, if you go through the course and then you volunteer and put in so many volunteer hours, you are a master gardener.
And you can put that on your tombstone.
And you can put that on your tombstone. But I mean, you're someone who knows how to grow things, how to keep a garden. There's a lot involved in that.
Not just
not my wheelhouse,
not just like food, but like plants.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And okay.
And there are garden tours in Bloomington. Yeah. Gardening is a huge, well, and being in real estate. Yeah. Curb appeal.
Sure.
But there are people who are very serious about their gardens, and it's a huge hobby for people. And gardening is a big moneymaker for the people who, all the tools you need and the seeds and
what are the kinds of volunteer things that they do if as part of becoming a master gardener? I think that
they have to volunteer, and I could be wrong about this, but there are certain community gardens here in Bloomington. Oh, okay. So there's like the Willie Streeter Community Garden, and then there's like the Orchard, and there are more that I'm leaving out. Yes. Area 10, I think, has a garden, and I'm leaving out a lot here, but there are opportunities to volunteer and help those people get their gardens up or to put their gardens to bed at the end of the season. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What other volunteer opportunities are there with the extension? I mean, you're basically like a nonprofit.
We are a nonprofit, but we do charge for some of our programs, as we were discussing during the break, because like anything we do need to, we offer a lot of things for free, but some things we do charge for as we move forward into the future and think about generating funds to keep ourselves supported. 4-H certainly has a lot of opportunity for volunteer.
I want to be a 4-H judge. Ooh. I think that would be fun.
Yeah,
because everybody gets a ribbon, right?
Everybody gets a ribbon.
See, I think it'd be fun.
Yeah,
to,
but they still need judges who are experts in
not the chickens.
Field.
But,
whether
I
it's
could judge
cooking or cake decorating or Instapot. That could be something you could judge.
There you go. I'm getting good with the Instapot.
Yeah.
Well, I have to tell another funny story. But when I had a house listed and they were raising chickens for 4-H, but that was early in the season, and it was still cold outside, and the baby chickens couldn't go outside, so they were inside in the house, and we were trying to have showings for the house.
That went over well.
So the owner had written a really nice little sign that was like, thank you for looking at our house. I'm so sorry, but the baby chickens are too young to go outside. Explaining the whole thing
for them to do
that.
And
so they were just like in one of the bedrooms.
Aww.
But they were really cute.
Yeah, I mean, and 4-H is great for kids and adults and teenagers, and it isn't, as I was saying, just, you don't have to have an animal. If you do, great, certainly, but you don't have to in order to be a part.
So what's
4-H.
The best way for someone to who wants to get involved in 4-H?
They can call our office at 812-349-2575 and speak with Katie Frew. She's our 4-H educator, and she's phenomenal.
And that usually is something that, isn't there a cycle, like it kind of ramps up in the spring?
There are certain enrollment times, but she can give you the lowdown, or whoever is interested, on when people can enroll. They even have 4-H minis, so for like the really young kids, which is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I think 4-H is great.
It is,
Let's talk about... I want to talk about Citizens Academy, because I had no idea that you all were involved in that. I knew there was a Citizens Academy at the city level.
Yeah.
Because I had a friend who was just finishing up going through that, and that's where you go and you learn about all the different, police department and, mayor's office and all the different offices that have to do with the city. But you guys put one on for the county level.
At the county level, yeah, because we are in a partnership with the county. Extension is in all counties. So we work closely with various people in the county officials to do Citizens Academy. We have one coming up in January. I think it actually starts in February, but it's 8 or 9 weeks. It's typically a Wednesday or a Thursday night from 6 to 9 p.m. and it's free. So we will be advertising that here coming up in about a month or so. And it's a great way for people to get involved in civic engagement if they want to learn more about how the county works, how they can get involved in the county, if they've just been curious about resources that they may not even know about.
And I think
a lot of people don't.
And a lot of people don't quite understand. If you move to Bloomington from a big city and you've always lived in a city, they don't really understand the difference of living out in the county and how it's, I live out in the county, and so I don't have city services necessarily. Right. I can't vote for the mayor, even though everything I do revolves, and I do own property in the city, but I still don't I don't live there. So, so it's
changes things.
It's a weird concept. And we run into that a lot in real estate when people are coming like, what do you mean county? Like, I'm not in the city, but I live in Bloomington.
Right. And
that
could be important. Like if you want to vote for certain things, you really should think about where you're going to live.
Right.
And if you are a homeowner, it's certainly important to understand your home's value and how that can change.
Right.
And the
amenities and services. And that
and all of that. So
interesting.
Quite a bit to be,
So again, the best way to check out into that is perhaps following you on social media.
We have a Facebook page.
And
it's
then
Purdue Extension, Monroe County.
Okay.
We have a website. You're certainly welcome to call us. Our office is open from 8 to 4 Monday through Friday. You can stop in, talk to someone, pick up information.
Yeah. And a couple other programs that you have too, Bugfest, which I think is a big event that you do.
That is something that our Ag and Natural Resources educator, Amy Thompson, does.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that happens in, I think, May or June. Okay. And that's where kids can kind of come out and look at bugs and learn about bugs. And it's an educational event. So that's something. And I think that should be going on this coming year. And then I want to say that she does Snail Day, which is another... I'm trying to think of what the acronym SNAIL stands for, but it's...
Slimy,
sort of a buggy, outdoorsy sort of thing.
Yeah. Interesting.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. And then there's also, you mentioned a hops program.
Again, Amy would be the point person for that, but that is a program for people who, local brewers and people who are interested in how to use hops or grow hops or what they can do with what they've grown. So that's available as well.
And I can think of about 5 people off the top of my head that should, would be interested in a course like that. So, so I think the overriding theme of the show today is follow them on social media and maybe stop by and definitely check out their website too, because there's so much there that you may not even know could be useful to you. There was another thing, you still do a lot of the agricultural stuff.
Oh, definitely.
Even though, Monroe County has some agriculture. We're not completely agriculture, but you still do this and that. Yes. So there's, I think statewide, there's a small farm conference.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's something that the Extension supports and puts on to help these smaller farmers find better ways to do things and keep those family farms going.
Very supportive, at the legislative level and being involved with things that support farmers in the state, because clearly that's something Extension is invested in.
Yeah.
But so there are lots of ways for people to connect with us. If you're at the Monroe County Recycling Center, stop on by. We're right there. Or if you're going to go adopt a pet,
swing on by. And one other thing I saw too, which I guess was interesting to me only because I run into this with real estate a lot, is that you also have some seminars and things on timber management. And that can be something if you're buying big chunks of land
we talk in real estate a lot about, is there timber value and how is it timbered and what is that process? And sometimes there are homeowners that just, maybe have 5 acres, but there are 10 or 15 really good trees in there. How can you manage that? And what's the responsible thing to do?
And the thing is too, if we can't answer your question in Monroe, we have connections all throughout the state. So we can refer you to someone who you could call and they could answer it, or they could look at your photo and help you identify something. So we're well connected in that regard.
It's just such an amazing resource.
I know.
It is.
I know. And you guys were laughing that during break when I said, why haven't I heard of this? Because I say that with every guest.
Yeah.
But I just think this one has so much more. It's not just like, maybe like a half dozen like focused things. I mean,
Monroe offers so much. There is a lot in this county, but Extension certainly has that history behind it that makes it more, I think, interesting and relevant as we kind of grow and change to meet, the way things are different now. And
we joked about people calling you. We did joke a lot. We should have recorded break. It was good. But we joked about people calling you with crazy questions. And I guess one of the things I want to encourage people to do is you're a legitimate resource for legitimate answers. And I think one of the things that's currently driving me batty, I don't know why that matters, but it does, is all the misinformation that's getting circulated that you see on Facebook about anything or on social media.
Yeah.
Someone will post a picture. There was something going around earlier this week about some chicken, that somebody bought some chicken and posted a picture and, something was wrong with it. I didn't even bother to read it because it's like, who knows? Do you really know? It's like, just who are you? It's just kind of crazy. So you buy some bad chicken, call the extension. They can tell you.
Or if we can't, we'll refer you to
someone. They'll help you figure out the answers and like legit answers so that you're not just relying on
social media to tell you.
Social media to tell you what's safe chicken and what's not, or how to cook your turkey or whatever else.
We do get a lot of food safety questions.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of how long can I keep this in the fridge? As I cleaned out my fridge this morning before I came over here, and did you know that pasta can smell really bad? I learned that. Yeah.
Oh, don't even get me started about sell by dates and use by dates, and I don't care if it's in the freezer or on the shelf.
There's a lot of leeway with that, and
we have that discussion in our house all the time with the milk. Like, how many days after the sell-by date?
Zero days.
I've gotten yours to be a little bit more lenient about that, but I'll never forget we had this friend.
Smell it.
That's what I say, too. Yeah. I'm like, if it's chunky, then it's bad.
Right. Smell it. I mean,
we had a friend coming down from Indianapolis to watch our dogs one weekend. This was years ago, and he shows up with this half gallon of milk. And he goes, my milk expires tomorrow. And we were just dying.
By golly, I'm going to drink all of it.
We were dying all weekend. We were just picturing our friend Jay sitting on the couch with a half gallon of milk, just trying to chug it all down because it was going to expire tomorrow.
I'm not letting this go to waste.
Right. So Extension can keep you from being that friend. That's our moral
valuable,
of the story, right?
I think that's amazing.
That's it.
Right. Don't be that friend.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I think it's a little bit clear.
I hope so. It's a lot.
It is a lot, but I think that the thing is just knowing that that's a resource out there. And I think people will eventually, just learn that that's just another place to turn, and we can all use more places to turn. So.
Yeah, love that. Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Alrighty, we'll be back with another episode of At Home in Bloomington. Thanks for listening.
Got a show idea? I'd love to hear it. And be sure to contact me for all your real estate needs and questions too. You can email me at deb@realrealestatetoday.com and follow me on Facebook at Deb Tomorrow Realtor. To contact Karen Rastel for all your mortgage needs, call 812-606-7653 or log on to ruoff.com and go to the Bloomington Center. Thanks to all the Bloomington people who make production of At Home in Bloomington possible. Special thanks to superstar producer Rachel DiGregorio, digital guru Cynthia Hogan at Monster Digital Marketing for website design and hosting, and video genius Wes Lasher in the production house for engineering the show.